Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 4 is out, and the cover is of Kawaki and the title is called The Awakening. Now the way the chapter starts off is with Code looking down at the Ten Tails main body and recalling Boruto's warning a couple of chapters ago. However, Code is not on the same page as Boruto and doesn't understand how these claw grime could be such a threat when their only ability is to devour. Kashin Koji's Toad then tells Boruto to hurry up because there's no time to spare, and Boruto asks him to be quiet because he's not as good as his grandpa at something. And meanwhile, Kawaki's just watching and wondering who the heck Boruto's talking to. And then Boruto teleports to the Ten Tails dimension using the Flying Raijin Jutsu. And it makes sense for Boruto to not be as good as Minato at the Flying Raijin Jutsu, given that, Minato spams it everywhere around, does a lot of crazy stuff with this jutsu. He's even better than Tobirama at it, so I'm totally cool with Boruto not being as good as Minato at it. I actually prefer it that way. Boruto has to sit there and think and focus, and he also has to teleport directly to a leaf pendant that the Kashin Koji Toad is holding, rather than making Flying Raijin markers all over the place like Minato does. And Code is absolutely shocked to see Boruto here, and Boruto just casually walks right up next to Code to look down at the Ten Tails, and he notices that the Ten Tails is gone. And this confuses the Kashin Koji Toad because he was literally just looking at the Ten Tails like 2 seconds ago, but now it's magically missing. And it doesn't appear as though Code moved the Ten Tails because he was too busy being distracted by Boruto, and frankly, Code is too weak right now because of the Rasengan Uzuhiko to even move the Ten Tails in the first place. Now what's really cool, in my opinion at least, is how Code notices the Kashin Koji Toad and says, "What's this toad, ... Now Code isn't asking, what is this toad? Like he doesn't know what a toad is. It's more so like, why is this toad here? How did it even get here? And more importantly, I hope Code recognizes the toad as one of Kashin Koji's toads. This should catch Code's interest because Kashin Koji was not included on Ishiki's hit list for Code, and Jigen and Ishiki never told Code that Kashin Koji was a traitor alongside Amada. So as far as Code is aware, Kashin Koji should either be dead, or he should not be a traitor working alongside Boruto here. Either way, Code should be confused by this, and hopefully we'll get to see him make some sort of remark or thought about this, and I would really like to see Code and Kashin Koji actually have an encounter at some point in the future. I think that would be really cool. In any case though, a mysterious new enemy resembling Bug appears, and Code actually thinks it is Bug for a second. However, it's not Bug because Bug is clearly still inside the tree. And Boruto says, "By Bug, are you referring to that guy who's become a tree behind us? Cause that ain't Bug. That creature in front of us is a divine tree." This implies that when Bug was bitten by a claw grime, it created a mini humanoid divine tree, with that divine tree being this Bug claw grime divine tree guy here. And this Bug tree then attacks Boruto and completely slams him against the wall, and he asks, "Have you come to offer up yourself to be devoured, Otsutsuki Boruto?" Which I found to be a little humorous and interesting because normally it says Uzumaki Boruto, not Otsutsuki Boruto, because Otsutsuki isn't Boruto's last name. Of course, this guy's probably just saying that because Boruto is 100% Otsutsuki now. But anyway, Boruto uses a lightning style jutsu to zap this claw grime, but it does nothing and he continues to attack Boruto, but Boruto teleports away using the Flying Raijin Jutsu. And the Bug guy says, "Tricky little jutsu," which reminds me of when Ishiki was always like, "That damned Rinnegan," every time Sasuke swapped places with something using a Mano Tejikara. I've always found it cool whenever Minato or Tobirama used Flying Raijin, or when Sasuke used a Mano Tejikara, so the idea that Boruto is Flying Raijin now is cool to me. It's always fun to watch it in battle. Unlike Bug and Ishiki, I guess I like these tricky little jutsu. Code then falls over because of the Rasengan Uzuhiko, and since Code's become useless now, Boruto touches Code and resigns the Uzuhiko and tells him to get up and prepare for an enemy attack, and that there's no time to explain right now, so he should help Boruto if he doesn't want to die. Code then asks what's happened to the Ten Tails and whether it's related to Bug getting devoured and becoming a divine tree. And Boruto says, "Not just Bug. This involves others too. Everyone who's been turned into a tree." And then another guy shows up flying in the sky and says, "Chakra. All life on a planet, both current as well as past and long dead. We divine trees exist to suck the chakra out of all living things and form a chakra fruit. At least, that was our original driving instinct. But Code, we appear to have evolved a bit, thanks to awakening self-awareness in us." And then a girl shows up and says, "Poor Code! It seems to be your inescapable fate to be a clown who ends up being used by someone else. It's almost laughable. And now that the enemies are piling up, the Toad tells Boruto that it's time to retreat and regain their footing. And that's when a hooded man appears, who really seems to have Boruto distraught. But that's when we cut back to the Hokage office where Kawaki and Shikamaru are talking about Boruto, and Kawaki mentions how Boruto was talking to someone before he disappeared. However, Shikamaru's been monitoring all mind transmissions, so he doesn't believe that any of them are a spy. Sarada then barges in and says, how ridiculous, it's a lot simpler than that. Code attacked Konoha and Boruto drove him away. That was obvious from their convo. Please ask Eida to confirm it. And Kawaki says, you just don't get it, Sarada. Boruto's an otsutsuki. No matter his motives, he's an enemy that needs to be killed, just for being otsutsuki. And Sarada chimes back saying, that's real rich coming from you, another otsutsuki. And Kawaki's like, do I really have to say this again? I'm an otsutsuki killing otsutsuki. My powers only exist to kill other otsutsuki. Once that's done, I'll be happy to off myself. Until then, I'll do whatever it takes. Got that? And I like this line from Kawaki because it's almost a callback to the end of chapter 77 after Kawaki sealed Naruto and Hinata away. As he said, once it's all done, you're welcome to kill me. So you just wait until then, Lord 7. Kawaki essentially says the same thing to Sarada here, which heavily implies that once Kawaki is done killing Boruto and Code, and perhaps any other Otsutsuki he learns about, Kawaki probably does plan on killing himself. Not just because he's an Otsutsuki, but also because there's a sense of guilt deep in his heart for having killed his own brother and sealing his parents away for several years. Kawaki probably can't shake that guilt and wants to just kill himself to repent for it, on top of the fact that he's also an Otsutsuki and probably wants to kill himself because of that too. In any case though, Sarada chimes back saying, and I'll repeat myself, I won't let you have your way in Konoha, as a shinobi who aims to become Hokage. Shikamaru just gets annoyed by all of this and says, both of you, that's enough, unless you want to piss off the current Hokage. He then asks what's up with the trees mentioned in the damage report involving the claw grimes. And Sarada says that she's not sure, but at the very least, the entrapped victims are still alive, and so there might be a way to save them. And based on what she overheard, her impression is that Boruto knows something, and that's why he's chasing after Code. But regardless of Boruto's true motives, there's no doubt that he and Code have a hostile relationship. So since Code is a threat to Konoha, we should consider collaborating with Boruto to take Code down. Now, I really like the contrast of how Sarada is trying to convince Shikamaru now compared to Chapter 1. In Chapter 1, it's more so like, bro, Boruto's not a bad guy, give him a chance, hear him out. That's not gonna work because of Omnipotence. Omnipotence commands everyone to believe that Boruto did what Kawaki did, which is do something bad to Naruto and Hinata and try to kill Boruto. They can't shake that memory away. So trying to convince them that Boruto didn't do that or that it was for a good cause isn't going to be very effective. However, convincing them to team up with Boruto to take Code down is going to be a heck of a lot more effective because it's objectively true. They literally witnessed Boruto only going after Code, not attacking Kawaki or anyone else in the Leaf Village. That's something they can actually believe. It's very similar to how in the War Arc, nobody really trusted Sasuke, but they were willing to team up with Sasuke since he was going to help them take down the Ten Tails and Obito and Madara. It's a very similar case here. In any case though, we then cut back to the Ten Tails dimension, where Boruto seems to be glaring at the hooded man, and the Toad's like, what are you doing, Boruto? Our surprise attack failed. You need to leave now. However, the hooded man attacks Boruto, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that this hooded man very clearly looks like Sasuke. Sasuke obviously got bitten by a claw grime when Boruto and Sasuke encountered Code over the time skip. This Divine Tree Sasuke even uses Chidori like Sasuke, and so Boruto has to counter it with the Rasengan to give us the famous Rasengan vs Chidori clash. The Bug Divine Tree then catches Boruto's sword with his giant crab claw hand thing, and the girl traps Boruto with some sort of Earth-style jutsu. And I think now is a good time to tell you what I think the identities of these 4 Divine Tree people are. So, the Bug one is obviously Bug, the Sasuke one is obviously Sasuke, and the girl I believe is Moegi for 2 main reasons. The first is because of visual appearances. The Bug Tree has similar looking teeth and a long beard just like Bug, and although Bug is always wearing that Eskimo hat, there's a good chance he's also bald just like this Bug Tree guy is. Similarly, the Sasuke tree just blatantly looks a lot like Sasuke. Like, there's not a whole lot to say about that one there. As for the girl, her claw mark hairstyle is very interesting, and the only character in the entire series with a similar hairstyle is Moegi. I mean, there's just nothing else that's comparable whatsoever. And the second reason is the jutsu and abilities that these divine tree people have. One of Sasuke's trademark jutsu is the Chidori, and unsurprisingly, the Sasuke tree uses a jutsu that looks identical to the Chidori. Similarly, the female divine tree person uses an earth-style jutsu that looks identical to the earth-style gravel jutsu that Moegi used on Amato in chapter 44. The jutsu literally look identical. Sure, the girl didn't say earth-style gravel jutsu, just as the Sasuke tree didn't say Chidori, but we can visually tell that the jutsu look identical. Because she looks like Moegi and uses the same jutsu that only Moegi has ever used in the entire series, I'm inclined to believe that this divine tree was created when a claw grime bit Moegi. In addition, we've seen Team Inoshikacho fighting the claw grime these past few chapters, and we've seen Konohamaru in part 2 as well. However, we have not yet seen Moegi, just as we hadn't seen Sasuke yet before this point. Now obviously, just because we haven't seen Moegi doesn't guarantee that she was bitten by a claw grime over the time skip, but it could explain why we haven't seen Moegi yet. Now when it comes to Bug, we never actually saw him fight anyone, but we do know that he was an outer member of Kara and a part of Boruto's cult, where Sasuke says that Boruto's cult was apparently doing a lot of scientific research and development behind Jigen's back. So the idea that Bug would have some sort of ninja tech abilities isn't surprising at all. It probably is somehow related to this big claw hand that the Bug tree is using. Now the most interesting one in my opinion is the divine tree guy that's flying in the sky. Unlike the other three, this one doesn't fight at all in this chapter, so we can't use his abilities to pinpoint his identity. Instead, all we have to work with is his visual appearance, where this guy looks an awful lot like Jigen and Nishiki. He does look a bit like Kawaki too, but it doesn't make as much sense because Kawaki very clearly wasn't bitten by a claw grime, so it wouldn't make sense for this to be a Kawaki tree unless there's some sort of time travel going on. More realistically, I think he looks the most like Jigen and Nishiki. The claw mark on his head even seems to resemble Ishiki's horn, as you can see this little triangle where it pops out like a point of a horn just like Ishiki's. It's just not fully formed. As for how Jigen and Nishiki would be related to this claw grime divine tree person, I plan to save that for a couple of future videos. In addition, I also think this guy is essentially the main body of the Ten-Tails, and that's why the Ten-Tails mysteriously disappeared all of a sudden in this chapter. He essentially just flew into the sky. And I say that for several reasons. The first reason is because if this guy is in fact related to Ishiki or Jigen, it wouldn't make any sense for a claw grime to have bitten Ishiki or Jigen because they were both already dead long before Code even created the claw grime to begin with. So it's literally impossible for them to have bitten one of those two. In addition, the Ten-Tails main body had to have gone somewhere. It didn't just poof into nothingness. So the idea that the Ten-Tails main body turned into one of these divine tree people makes a lot of sense. Furthermore, if you look at the stomach of the Ishiki looking guy on page 20, you see the same Magatama Tomoe markings that are on the Ten-Tails cage on page 32. On top of that, if you look at the symbol on the back of the Ishiki looking guy's claw grime outfit on page 38, it looks a lot like the Rinnegan symbol on top of the Ten-Tails' cage, as well as the Rinnegan symbol on Kage and Momoshiki Sasuke's stone tablets. In other words, this guy seems to have the same symbols as the ones on Ishiki's cage with the Ten-Tails, implying a connection to both Ishiki and the Ten-Tails. And this guy's the only one of the four who has these markings, and he also seems to be portrayed as the leader of the group, which makes him stand out as unique, and the moral of the story is, I think this is what the main body of the Ten-Tails became. This guy who looks like Ishiki and Jigen. Getting back to the chapter though, when Boruto gets trapped in the Earth-style jutsu, he asks Code to lend him a hand because Code is going to be killed too. However, Code just leaves, and it's the funniest part of the chapter to me. He just says, "Seems like they'll devour you on their own, to become a full divine tree without me doing anything." It's an unforeseen development, but it works for me, hehe. I feel like a load is off my shoulders. And Boruto's yelling at Code, and I just thought it was really funny how Boruto releases the Uzuhiko, asks Code for a hand, and then he just leaves. It's funny, and it's smart though, because why make an enemy out of these claw grime people when Code can just let them kill Boruto since they want to do that on their own anyway? It's a smart tactic, but it's really funny. The toad tells Boruto to give up though and just get out of there because if he dies, all of this will be for nothing, and so Boruto teleports away using Flying Raiji. The Flying Jigen guy then says, "You were lucky. Our self-awareness having just awakened, overflowing curiosity and thirst for knowledge, are still surpassing our instinctual drive to devour you. So run where you will, but no matter where you go, know that you can never escape your destiny." And I found this line of dialogue really interesting because it reminds me a lot of what Ashiki said to Kashin Koji in chapter 47, where he said that all genes, all people have a predestined fate. It sounds like a very similar philosophy here, which is just yet another reason why I think this guy might be related to Ashiki or Jigen. I'm very interested in seeing more of this whole destiny theme playing out as the story moves forward. We then cut back to Boruto though, where we finally get Kashin Koji's return. Kashin Koji says, "Are you trying to destroy this planet? Don't ever be that rash again." Boruto apologizes and says that he panicked, and Kashin Koji says, "I'm not trying to console you, but you knew there was a high chance of this happening, and it doesn't really change anything. We still must fight." And I really like this line of dialogue from Kashin Koji, because one of the central themes surrounding Kashin Koji in the story of Boruto in general is what it means to be a ninja. It's told to us throughout Naruto that a ninja is one who endures, and at the end of chapter 699 of Naruto, the narrator basically spells it out for us. It says, it's kind of like a prayer, to keep enduring until it comes to be no matter what. And to those whom that task falls on, perhaps that's what it means to be a ninja. Now when Kashin Koji says, "It doesn't change anything, we still must fight," that's basically a paraphrase way of saying, it doesn't change anything, we must keep enduring, because that's what ninja do. I think it's so great that Kashin Koji is the one who says this to Boruto, especially with Sasuke in the background, because these are Boruto's two main masters, both of which are the ones who teach Boruto that a ninja is one who endures. You keep fighting no matter what. It's such a small detail, but I think this is by far hands down the best part of this chapter, and this is what I want to see more from Boruto as a story. I want to see this thematic stuff here. Callbacks to Naruto. I want this to feel like a sequel to Naruto, telling us what it means to be a ninja and proving it through Boruto's actions. When Boruto says, "I'm still a shinobi" in the flash forward scene to Kawaki, it's gonna hit so much harder with moments like these. This was perfect. Boruto then says, "Sorry, you'll have to wait a bit longer, Sasuke," as he's leaning against the Sasuke tree. Great ending to the chapter. Now while it was really nice seeing Kashin Koji finally return after like 3 years, I don't know how much longer I can wait on Amato here. I love Amato, he's so sus and I love it, and I just really want to know where he is and what he's been up to all this time. I just can't wait much longer. I need to see Amato already. And the same thing goes for Mitsuki. Like, is this dude still just standing on that balcony thinking, is Kawaki my son or not? Like, what has he been doing this entire code invasion? We didn't see him fighting any claw grime. We don't see him in the Hokage office discussing Boruto. What the heck is he doing? Is he seriously on that balcony? Like, come on, give me some Mitsuki action one way or another. I don't care if it's just him talking. I want to see Amato and I want to see Mitsuki. I don't know how much longer I can wait on these guys. But I want to know what you guys think about this chapter overall. Who do you think are the identities of each of those claw grime divine tree people? Are you with me and you think it's Jigen or Ishiki, Moegi, Sasuke and Bug? Or do you think it's a different girl or a different guy? I'm pretty sure everyone's going to agree about Bug and Sasuke, but what about the other two? And what did you guys think about the ending of the chapter? Did you also really like Kashin Koji's dialogue and how that relates to the what it means to be a ninja theme? Or did you think it was boring and not like it? And lastly, what do you think Mitsuki and Amato are up to? Is Mitsuki still just standing on the balcony wondering who his son is? And is Amato in jail, dead, or off on his own outside of the Leaf Village somewhere? Let me know in the comment section below, but that's a wrap on today's video, so thank you guys for watching until the end.
You're already under my genjutsu.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, like the video, check out my podcast channel, check out Peak Fiction, become a member, and hit the bell icon for notifications.
Sorry, Sasuke. Maybe some other time.
Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.